friends, welcome into the Leadership Sandbox. I am Tammy J, your host, and today we're getting into a topic that I believe is a very relevant topic for right now, for this season right now. We are in Q2 of 2025. We are dealing with all sorts of interesting things in the Leadership Sandbox and in your workplace as well. And I want to say this loud and clear to you. Silence in the face of toxic leadership is not neutrality. It's neglect. It is absolute, unequivocally neglect. And your team, the results are the team's performance factors. The results of your neglect is your turnover rate. The outcomes of your neglect in leadership to deal with toxic leadership is actually the attitudes that people are talking about outside of the office. And if you think that avoiding conflict, and I know there's a lot of great leaders out there that are just simply conflict averse, but if you think that avoiding conflict is going to keep your team together, I want you to think again, leader. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on what happens when leaders let fear, politics, and confusion stop them from stepping in just because one leader, even in the C-suite, becomes the problem. And I should say probably especially when they're in the C-suite and we don't want to address it. Here's what we're going to be covering right now in the sandbox. Kick off your shoes. That's my first and foremost. Grab your pen and paper. You're going to want to take notes. And then I want you to get ready, because you're going to have a call to action at the end of this episode. What we're going to be talking about, that silence is not a strategy, right? Silence is not a strategy for taking care of toxicity in the workplace. So let's dive in right now in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hey, leader, if you're navigating tough conversations and it feels like a struggle, I want you to know I've got you covered. I've got your back. I've created a communication starter pack designed to give leaders and managers the tools that they need to communicate with confidence, clarity, and real impact. So I want you to head on over to bondgroupenterprises.com and grab your starter pack today. It's time to lead conversations that matter and get the results you deserve. All right. Silence. It's a leadership decision, friends, and it's not a good one. I have dealt with and worked with and had the opportunity to coach many teams where they know not to approach certain individuals, or there's certain topics that are off limits and we're silent about it. Or when bad behavior shows up, we stay silent because we don't know how to address it. The root cause is we don't know actually how to ask the right questions. There are many episodes here in the Leadership Sandbox all about questions. Get a copy of the book. It's on Amazon. Playing in the Sandbox. Every chapter has powerful questions. It teaches you the structure of how to ask powerful questions. I've got resources on the website. Like, I'm all about how to equip leaders, equip you as a manager, as a rising star in your company, as someone who's aspiring to do greater things, to learn how to ask better questions, because it will help you to stop being silent and deciding to be silent or avoid taking action. Because the reality is, when you avoid to take action on a toxic situation, you're actually taking action. When you avoid to speak up, you're actually speaking up louder than if you used words. And it sends a message that toxic behavior, that bad behavior is tolerated, that we allow it, that we sweep it under the rug for whatever reason. And a lot of times, I just experience this too. A lot of times it's because of fear. Well, if I speak up to that one person that's toxic, what's going to happen to the rest of the team, because nobody knows how to do their job? Or, we just hired him. Should we fire him that fast? Yes. Slow to hire, quick to fire. You're welcome. I firmly believe in that. Now, I'll say that I firmly believe in that so long as you've actually given the parameters and the expectations of what you're needing to see changed in this toxic behavior. So yes, slow to hire, take your time to find the right person, onboard them correctly. And then if you see that they're just not performing or they're creating a toxicity in the work environment, you want to move in quickly, swiftly, give them the direction and the parameters of if not this, then what, right? Because here's the reality. Your team will mirror what the leader permits. Your team will mirror what your leader permits. So if you allow dysfunction to slide in, it's going to spread. If you allow toxicity to come in because we talk negatively or we We fly under that, just that edge of being racially inappropriately appropriate with our comments, or gender bias, or there's so many different biases that can show up in the way that we talk, our behaviors. When you allow that dysfunction to come in, it will spread and everybody thinks it's okay. And then if it's someone at a top level leadership position and nobody knows how to speak up, that's where you're going to have a turnover issue. 65% of employees say that they would rather have a new boss than a raise. Think about that for a minute. That's what Gallup is telling us. 65%, y'all, would rather have a new boss than a raise because they want a harmonious work environment. They don't want to be in a toxic work environment. Nobody wants to go to work in a toxic work environment. What you allow is what will continue, and eventually what will define your culture. Think about that. What you allow in your environment, right? It will continue. Right? What you allow is what will continue, and eventually what will define your culture. So take a look, take the temperature, bring somebody in from the outside to do an assessment, a neutral assessment, to find out what's really going on at a behavior level and address it, or it will define you. Here's the cost of avoiding it if you don't. Money. It's the 3 M's: money, morale, mission. See, you thought 3M was just a sticky product that was made by accident. No, this is actually the 3M approach of avoidance. It's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you morale, and it's going to impact your mission. Toxic leadership leads to increased turnover, mental health claims, absenteeism, and reputation damage. And if you think that dealing with it is going to cost more money than just ignoring it, you're wrong. Because when you ignore it, not only do people leave, which we've talked before about the 200-ish% that it costs a company for every turnover, from a recruitment to training and onboarding and all of that. Then you've got that ripple effect. You've heard me also talk about the ripple impact, the ripple effect of what one person might cause to a team, that you can't even see the individual, like the pebble in the water. It goes away, but the impact goes on and on and on. That's what these behaviors are causing in your workplace. And that absenteeism is costing you, oh my gosh, so much money. It's also costing you in the people that are picking up the workload from those that are missing work all the time because of the toxic culture. So you're impacting the health. And I will tell you this, a claim to your company because you have someone behaving badly, and you have an HR claim, and you have potentially a lawsuit, you got litigation, that's going to cost you a whole lot more than addressing the one person that's presenting the toxic behavior. So it doesn't just hurt feelings, it drains your bottom line, right? I said it, the 3 M's: money. It's going to drain your bottom line, morale. People are going to stop showing up for work, or they're going to leave the job, and you're going to spend a lot of money, back to number one, on turnover. And mission. What's the culture that you're wanting to, the mission that you have in your community, or for the families that serve in your company? What's that mission? What are you there for? It's going to impact that, because it's going to get blurry, because we think that we just allow toxic culture here. We forget our why. We forget what we're here for. Organizations with toxic culture are 10.4 times more likely to experience attrition, says MIT Sloan. Here's another one for you. The average cost to replace an employee is 50 to 60% of their annual salary. Hello, somebody. Just that employee. Now that's what SHRM says, and I actually think that's probably low. And I think we're talking about, it depends on the level of employee, right? Like you frontline staff, middle management, senior leadership, obviously that percentage goes up. But 50 to 60% is what SHRM's saying today. That's still pretty dang high. And every time that you ignore toxic leadership or a toxic individual, toxic behaviors, you're writing a check that your mission cannot afford, and they can't cash it. Just think about that. Sit with that. You've got somebody, and I know that you've got somebody on your team that's toxic, that's creating a toxic behavior pattern. And if you don't want to address it, and it's not just addressing it, by the way, with the individual, I want to say this too, because I just had this experience. You don't just address it with the individual. You got to address it with the whole team. And that's about going in and saying, look, we know that we have some behaviors on here, and we know that there's been some individuals that have had some behaviors on here that do not serve the culture that we're wanting to create. We acknowledge that. We're sorry for that. We apologize for that. However you want to set it up to let the team know that they're seen, that they're understood, and they're heard, because they're crying out for that attention for you to deal with that problem in the sandbox called your workplace. And the question is, friends, Are you actually going to be the leader to step up and fix the problem? Or are you going to continue to perpetuate it? Here are the myths. I think this is really funny. I love this part. The myths that leaders tell themselves to justify inaction. It's not my place. It'll blow over. They're just passionate. They get results. If I say something, I'll lose them. One of the ones I've heard recently, well, if I say something and I'm wrong, what does that say about me? It's not about you. It's about the people that are doing the work with the toxic leader that you're not addressing in the workplace. Okay. Staying silent because you're scared of conflict means you're not leading, that you're enabling. You're empowering the toxic behavior that's not serving in your workplace. And let's talk about what the real strategy is. I want to get you into where you move to. I've already talked about how you bring the whole team together to address the elephant with purple polka dots in the corner of the room called this toxic human being. But you want to bring clarity, which that does. You want to bring courage, and you also want to expose a consequence, right? This is the strategy. Be willing to have the hard conversations. Yes, the ones that you've been avoiding. Ask for help. Hey, ping me, DM me, hit me up. I will help you to navigate your framework for how to have this difficult conversation. I would love it because I'm passionate about it. If you need to bring HR or legal teams in, do it early, very early on. Make sure you document the behaviors, right? Not just the feelings, but the behaviors. When I go in and I help teams unpack these problems, I get to what are the behaviors? What's underneath? What's that behavior that's driving this, right? What's not just I feel, it's what's the behavior that's causing it. You want to get after that, not after the damage is done, right? You don't want to bring HR and legal into it after the fact, because then it's a cleanup. We want to get ahead of it, and we want to expose it early, and we want to have that conversation to support everybody, because I believe that the people that bring the toxic environments, I would say 9 out of 10 of them don't really want to be that way. They've just been allowed to because they didn't have somebody like you standing up to say, hold on a minute, I'm pretty sure that you don't want to speak that way to this team. Or wait, pause just a minute, I'm pretty sure you don't want to behave that way. Let's reframe it. They've never had anybody come alongside them and help them. Maybe that's you, friend. You can use an anonymous feedback survey to help build the actions, right? As long as you act on it. When I go in and I hear that, though, we've done all these surveys, we've done all these employment surveys, that's great. That's lovely. And what have you done with it? Well, we're just still looking at the information. And how many months ago was that? Well, it was about 6 months ago. Wow. Well, one, it's old data now. There's nothing you can do with it. And two, you just demoralized your entire team because you didn't tell them the why behind it, but then what you were going to do with it. So please, if you're going to do a survey, make it anonymous, but then let them know the results and act on it. That's what they want. Then you go in to set clarity of expectations, right? Be clear with your expectations and enforce them for everyone. No exception. If you're going to go in to correct a behavior for one, you set the expectation for all. And we're not necessarily singling anyone out. We're making it for everyone, but then it's the matter of follow through. And I literally just said this on a phone call with clients yesterday that are trying to do one of these things with correcting these toxic behaviors. Get ready to manage the heck out of this thing, because this one individual is going to need extreme oversight, and you're going to need to document every step of the way. I also call that putting the squeeze on people, because if you can't, if you're not willing to do that, then that's on you as the leader, and you're still allowing the toxic behavior. But when you decide to step in and be bold and claim your space, and you're going to address the issue, and you're going to address the toxicity, and you're going to put together an action plan of what that looks like, behavior-based action plan. You're going to have regular 20-minute check-ins on this is what is expected here. How are you doing? And we're having regular at least twice a week. If someone's on an improvement plan, I would say more frequently than that. You're wanting to change these behaviors. You're going to be having these check-ins, and you're setting the clear direction, and you're not allowing people to squeeze out of it. You're allowing them to actually be squeezed. They can be squeezed out because they don't want to follow your plan. But the minute that you let up the gas on that gas pedal for accountability, right, they're going to go right back to their bad past behaviors if you don't get it addressed and do it fast. You want to empower your team to speak up. This is also going to help you because you may not always be able to be there, right? You may not be able to always see, and most likely not, but you're going to rely on the team to talk about the behaviors that they're seeing. And what do we want to see? And how will we know we've got it? And then we want to have other people, have the team feel free to speak up that, yeah, I'm seeing some progress. This is really good. Great. That doesn't mean you let your foot off the gas to change. It means that you're making progress. So let's keep going. Let's celebrate that. Let's talk about that. You cannot build a thriving team on a cracked foundation of fear, favoritism, or finger pointing. And a lot of times people with the most toxic behaviors are usually a favorite. Family or favorite? Well, I really ought to probably do a family-owned business episode at some point. But right now, I'm just going to say that you cannot build a thriving team if you've got a foundation of fear, favoritism, and finger pointing. You can't do it. It won't build. What you're going to build is you're going to build something that is opposite of what your mission is. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to cost you profits, bottom line. It's going to have a high turnover rate. And, then you get that lovely reputation, and you can just go to Indeed and check it out. And you're going to have that lovely reputation of the kind of toxic environment that you're in. When people go there and they want to be keyboard warriors and they want to put out on, these different platforms about what kind of a work environment you're creating in your company, I'll tell you what. They're emboldened to do that because one, well, that's keyboard warrioring, but you also haven't created a space where they can talk about it most likely, or they feel that they've already tried to bring it to your attention and you didn't listen to them. So how are you going to address those? Those are fun to go in and address and talk to, and then work to be different. Don't go and be another keyboard warrior and tell the person that left the review why they're wrong for that. Actually take it to the team and say, wow, how do we not have this review come up again? How do we change these behaviors? Where do we see these behaviors? It's actually a phenomenal tool if you'll use it. So listen, if this conversation that I've just had with you has kind of struck a nerve, I'm hoping that it has. I love it when I hear that. That means that it's time to act. And I want you to do these 3 things. I've got a simple call to action for you today because we're going to wrap this up and be quick, because I would rather have you get out there and start addressing the toxic behavior, or DM me or email me and tell me why. You can go to bondgroupenterprises.com for my email and contact me about tell me why you're not going to address it, or say, hey, Tam, I don't know how. What would you suggest? And then you give me the outline of what's happened. I will give you the 3 steps. I will walk you through how to do that. My gift. I want you to first look in the mirror and ask, what toxic behaviors am I ignoring? You got to first get real with it. What toxic behaviors am I ignoring? I would also offer that you take it with your leadership team. What toxic behavior, even if the person's in there, by the way, what are the toxic behaviors we're ignoring? Because the person with the toxic behaviors probably won't acknowledge that it's them, right? They can't see it yet. You're going to start the conversation with your team, with your HR partner, with your leadership peers about what we want to do about this. I looked in the mirror. This is what I see, or I'm hearing some feedback, or our engagement survey came back with, or we got some emails from staff that are saying whatever it is, y'all got them at some level, right? Then you want to talk it over and start the conversation about, if not this, then what are we going to do with it? And then I want you to get into how to have the bold conversations. And I've got resources on the website for you on exactly that. So go get the resources to get the exact steps to address the hard stuff with clarity and confidence. You can also pick up a copy of my book because it has it in there as well. I want you to learn how to ask better questions and start to have those bold conversations. Go get the bold conversations checklist. Get it now. And where you can go to do that is at the website, bondgroupenterprises.com, tammyjbond.com, leadershipsandbox.com. You can go there. It all points to the same place, by the way, and grab your copy today. Listen, friends, I am grateful that you joined me, because here's the truth of it. Teams don't quit companies. They quit silence. They quit bad leaders. Be the leader who speaks up and turns it around. You have it within you to do. I believe that you are whole, capable, creative, and resourceful to get, achieve, attain everything that it is that you want, as long as you know how to ask for it. So remember, you want to see some change. You want to turn the toxic into terrific. It's going to start with you. Y-O-U, right? Y-O-U, your own universe. You're the center of it. It's going to start with you. So get after it. Don't delay. Make a change. End toxicity. Bring a voice to it. Stop staying silent, because it is not a strategy. And it's up to you to address the toxic leadership that's costing you every single day. Thanks for joining me in the sandbox today. Make it a great day. God bless you.